Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a new episode of Backseat Musicians, episode 7.
Seven.
The worst seats.
Seven. The couches.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
I'm like, how do I sit on this? You.
It's not just me.
I'm like, I want to like
I can't
relax,
get comfortable.
but then if I said I'm gonna be sitting like this, and I'm just like,
Oh my god.
Who?
I'm so happy. I am so flippin' happy. Because I'm moaning about these couches every episode.
but he just cuts it out.
Does he cut it out? I've never noticed. Every
You're not watching.
episode.
Have you?
I don't like. I mean, I watch bits and pieces like every now and then, but I'm like, I don't have an hour to watch.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies and
Anyway.
gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 7 of Backseat Musicians.
You see, he's gonna cut it again.
Backseat musicians.
So today we have our first guest.
Hi. Yes.
We have Sean Sanby in the house. Sean Sanby on bass, as he's also known. Yeah, I don't know. Mandisi calls him that.
Calls him what?
Sean Sanby on bass. It's his full name. And Mandisi's around.
Sean Sanby and bass. That's pretty funny, actually. Well done, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have some questions to ask our dear friend
Yeah.
Sean Sammy. Just because I think that we are very opinionated, me and Daniel, and I think sometimes, yeah. So we just thought we'd get us a third opinion in
Third opinion.
about certain things.
Sure. What do you?
So
guys
what do you
wanna
feel? No, I was gonna say something and I can't now. That is brilliant,
know? What?
but I can't say
You
it.
can say it
No,
off.
I can't.
You can say
No, I can't say
You
it.
can say it off mic.
No.
You can say it.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because Dan will keep it in. Just because
Will
he'll
Dan
be like,
break?
he won't. He'll cut all my funny moments, and then he'll just
Oh.
make me look like a tool.
What funny moments? But yeah, why don't we talk about tour life a bit, because you've
Tour life. Yes.
yeah you've experienced a lot of that this year.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, just to give my background, maybe. I've been touring with Matilda, the musical, for the past it's been a year now. Yeah. I was going to say 9 months, but it's been a year. We started in
Joburg.
Joburg, yeah. Joburg, and then for 2 months, and then came to Cape Town for a month, and then had a month in Singapore, and now we've just come back from 3 months in China, and about to head off again for 3 months in China.
Yeah. So how do you find that your touring stamina has been tested by the amount of time you've been spending away from home?
Yeah, I'd say 7 months is a long time. I'd say for a tour. I think it's one of the with no gaps and just being in one country. I'd say it comes down to like, yeah, it's one of the longer tours, I'd say.
But I mean, I've heard
Yeah.
that China's hard. Like
Yeah,
a lot
well,
of people
Because
bail.
a lot of the people can't deal with the food.
Yeah, and
that's
the
thing.
culture difference.
Yeah,
And
it's a big culture shock.
I mean,
for a
I
lot
can
of
imagine
people.
like you could handle it if you're doing maybe a small tour, like if you were, I don't know, like
If
a
you're
touring,
there, yeah,
a
'cause
touring
a lot
artist. You know,
of
and you just
people
did like
say-
X amount of shows, but you'd been like running, like you guys have been going.
Yeah, a lot of people say like a few weeks is like their limit, like of what they do, or like they do like a month and they're like, cool, they're done, never
Yeah.
again. But I think they also the ones that like struggle with food and that, and like really need Western food, and I think it's gotten a lot better now over the past few years, just because there are a lot more fast food joints around and that.
So what have you been eating?
I enjoy like Chinese food, man.
You've been
Like
vibing.
it's cool, yeah. It's a vibe, and also like in the band we have the one guy who speaks Mandarin.
Oh, hip.
So we can actually go. Shout out to Carl, thanks. No, but because then we can go into like the corner restaurant where they only speak like
Yeah, and like
Mandarin
figure out what the stuff is.
and like Google Translate our way through ordering some food, but it's fun. It's an experience. 'Cause
Technology. Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that must be cool.
they also they always serve hot water when you arrive. It's a beautiful
Oh, okay.
yeah
To drink.
to drink. Like
Hot water's very good
yeah.
for you.
And then generally, I think in a lot of the places they have tea, like it's a thing for like a place to have their tea.
Oh, that they grow as well.
No, I wouldn't say
just like
grow,
their own
but
blend.
like yeah, they have their tea which they serve to you, or like their brew.
And then you can buy. As like
You can
probably
buy
buy
it,
like a
but
packet.
yeah, you just get served tea when you.
It's cool. It's healthy. Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, hot water and tea. It's
So
how you should start your day. Really.
yeah, it's a lot of like herbs and stuff. It's like more flowery
Okay.
type thing. So it ends up, I think it like was it jasmine helps with like water retention or something. So then a lot of because it's been so hot, it's that's the other thing. It's in summer it gets extremely hot, and it's just like between like 30 to 40 degrees every day, like day or night.
I remember
If
you
you're
saying like
outside, you're
running
sweating.
between shelters, like running between shelters and bus shelters, and you like.
Yeah, man, the sun gets so, is intense. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah, but then also, like but then also the actual music.
Yeah, the music. So it was it's Tim and Jim wrote a lot of it, which is cool, because it feels like it's written for the musicians in a way as well. Like like it's not just a lot of other music where it's the orchestration was like the last part, and there's kind of like the score was like put together by someone, like it's proper, and there's been attention to detail like throughout each department and each level in the musical, I'd say. So like there's like in the dance, in the wigs, in the costume, in like the set design, in the lighting, in the music, in the scoring of it, like it's all there was attention paid to like each detail, which I think makes it a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, awesome. But then also like I must ask the obvious question that people must ask you all the time. How do you deal with playing the same show every night?
Well, yeah, we've done about almost 200 shows now.
Yeah.
So I think we're like on 190 something, and we've got 3 months left going. Yeah, so it's 8 shows a week generally, and 6 days a week. So Mondays off, and then doubles on Saturday and Sunday. Because you've also had theatre experience. You played King Kong. How's that set up?
So that was slightly different because in the sense that the musical was done before, but we didn't have original scores. They were all over the place, and like in the South African run before they went to London, we're talking like 1957 or 8 or something like that, you know. In South Africa, a lot of the guys learned the parts by ear because some of the musicians that were playing couldn't read, you know. And it was like legendary musicians. Todd Machakiza was the writer, and it was a massive cast. So I mean, I think they said it was something like 60 to 70 people in the show. You know, like actors, but they're like people that had like one role, you know, like silly stuff like that, you know. And it was 1957, it was cheap. They went to London and did a run there. So what they had to do is I know that apparently it took them 5 years to put this together from everything, because trying to figure out how it looked, trying to figure out certain things when they'd lost certain parts of the show where there weren't scores, and then there were scores in London, and they had to go to the museum in London to find the scores and scan copies of it. But then there was missing parts there, and the London show was different to the African show.
Yeah, back in the days when you couldn't just back things up online.
I know, man, and it was like handwritten, and there were problems between Todd Machakiza and this guy who came, this English guy who came and did orchestration. He was like, why are you orchestrating like this? There was like intense dissonances, like insane dissonances.
Yo.
Like I remember there was.
So the guy just like didn't know what he's doing.
No, he like it was his style.
Oh, just that he like
it was
those
cool,
flashes,
but he was like, how must the singers find their notes from this? You know, there was arguments, and so Todd ended up doing some of them orchestra. So you can hear there was some which were like very South African, and there was some which were like you like quite like, because I mean obviously that style of there was definitely they were playing swing, you know. But anyways, caught up. But so the creation process was quite slow because they had to write extra songs. There were songs that had to take out because it was sexist, like it was like hectic, you know. It was like rough. It was it had to be readapted to the world. They had to figure out a way of telling the story in modern society, so they added that. and the music. It was quite fun because I was actually part of helping make the music a bit. I didn't have a big role, but I'd help them. I'd help like Shaw and Supumzo kind of flesh stuff out sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they did all the hard work. I'm not taking credit, but it was fun to just be part of the process as things were growing.
Yeah.
You know, Unity as well. Like there was stuff designed, which he like made the grooves up himself. Like for some dances and hits, and like it was fun, man. Like it was we really got to be highly involved in the creation of it. It was heavy also because I had such a big role. So I had to make up a lot of underscore in the show.
Yeah.
Playing bass lines and piano at the same time.
Yeah, where I think this is a different type of battle.
Exactly.
Where it's like more like a concentration of like, keeping the flow of everything, because it jumps through like, so many different styles, and I think where yours was more like one style, like it's a Quela vibe.
Yeah, for me,
just like it's that old Cape jazz.
Marabi vibes. It was interesting. Yeah, but it was also cool because it was a learning experience for me to learn to play like that.
Yeah,
because it's not like modern jazz at all. It was quite a specific style. I had to go and listen to Todd Machakiza playing other songs as well.
Yeah,
because in the big band arrangements you couldn't hear the piano. They wanted me to play like him. But it was fun. I mean, so all the underscore was obviously quite fun. I got to interact with the actors in that, and we started like building nice relationships, and we'd like mess around with each other. But obviously the any of the songs, they're like super. All the songs are super strict.
So being more creatively involved, did that help you? Did that make the process of playing the same show every night more interesting and more engaging?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you know what it was for me also because the in the show. For what was supposed to be, how big is your orchestra?
We have 8 people.
How is it?
Yeah, so it's I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal.
No, then don't. I just asking like, so do you have strings and stuff? No.
Yeah, well, no, there's no, I can't. Yeah, I can talk.
Yeah.
It's there's 2 keyboards that go through like patches, keys 1 and 2, and then there's a cello, and then I play double bass and electric bass. Then there's percussion and drums, which is one guy that just Jared. He just like has that whole entire section, like full kit, full.
So he has to stand up sometimes and.
Yeah, no, he's up all the time. Like he has, because we are on inner ears, and that he has his like tied to the roof, so he can move around and act like without getting like tangled in it. And then there's 2 brass, which is trumpet, and that's actually 5 trumpets. So that's what B flat.
CD.
No, B flat, E flat trumpet, C trumpet, cornet, flugel. No, not C trumpet, soprano, that little one.
The piccolo trumpet.
Yeah, the piccolo trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah. So he travels with all 5 of those. And it's the biggest mission. And then there's trombone and bass trombone.
One guy.
Sia
Charles.
Yeah, Sia Charles.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then woodwinds is Carl, who's on bass clarinet, and alto sax.
He's also very good with that.
Yeah,
stuff.
no, he's killer like cross, because he's also actually a flautist and like.
He played a big band sometimes when I was in college.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because he's more like on the orchestral line, like E flat clarinet I think is his like.
E flat clarinet.
Yeah, like it's like a higher pitch, like more E flat and piccolo. It's like shrieking.
Yeah, piccolo is very marching.
Pretty irritating.
Always complain about the piccolo.
Like who complains?
Everyone.
Everyone else. Because it's very.
Everyone with ears.
I remember we had a marching band in high school, and I was next to the piccolo because I was percussion.
Yeah.
That's why you're deaf.
Yeah, pretty much. Flip. It's the worst thing.
It just hits that like.
And it's just one ear.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just my right ear.
I mean, it can be lovely in situations, but
yeah, no. It
when
definitely
they like 5 kilometers away. Yeah,
far away.
yeah. When you're not in the orchestra, you're like
or the front row.
Yeah.
Or in the building.
Yeah. No, but it's very like I love that ensemble because it's very interesting to think about. As someone who wants to write musicals, you think about like that is probably the most realistic setup that you're going to be writing for.
You mean practically,
it's
budget-wise.
it's a very practical setup as well. Because I mean, just traveling thing. I wouldn't say in the percussion wise though, like it's a very big percussion setup because that's also running like xylo synths and like timpani synths,
Oh yeah.
and like a whole bunch of patches.
No, sure. Like it's, I've seen that show. It's ridiculous the amount of stuff you guys actually do musically.
Yeah.
With such a small setup.
Mm.
But like I saw that with Totsi as well, where there's a similar sized band, and literally in rehearsals, while the MD was busy getting used to conducting the music, he had a buddy busy sorting out all the synths. So literally the pianist was hardly like in the rehearsal, because she was sitting there learning which patch is going where and all that kind of stuff to get all the right. These strings need to sound right, and these things need to do this. And that.
It's always a mission, man. Setting up like however you set up, whether it's just using the keyboards, things like main stage, and then EQing each one properly. And with a mission like Tech Week is always like, oh my word, it's like the biggest nightmare.
But this is also like, I think, a show where that stuff is all like, you just have like, they have a patch list. Each computer is like running or each keyboard is running a Mac on its own.
Yeah.
Just to like, that runs through like a patch, like a set list of. Because it's all happened. The show has happened for the past. How old is the show? I think it's like 10 years.
Yeah, you see that is easy.
It's almost like 9.
But you guys.
No, it's like 7 years old, I think. Yeah, because this is the first touring instance of it.
Okay.
Because it was actually quite a thing getting the tour to tour, or getting the musical to tour, because of the swings and the stage setup.
Oh yeah, you're talking.
Because it's quite a unique setup, and a lot of theaters can't actually handle the tech requirements and the HR requirements. Yeah, so it becomes, that's why I think it took so long to get the tour, to get the musical to tour, because there's a lot of admin and prerequisite checks that need to happen in that.
No, fair enough.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I think the patch finding for me is always the most fun part.
Yeah.
Even for this little musical I did now recently, like the director and the music director just came to my house and we like talked through the show, just finding all the patches.
Were you running MIDI or?
No, I was just. Luckily enough, it wasn't intense enough for me to have to run my computer.
Yeah.
I had everything on my keyboards, so that was cool. It was just a few like ambient synths and like a lot of subby stuff, to create.
Yeah.
Rumbling, and the subs are just like like that kind of cool stuff, and then some like cheesy things for the effect, and then pianos and organs and EPs and stuff. So it was quite a simple. But King Kong in that sense was not so cool for me because we weren't allowed to use.
You play one sound.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to use a single other sound, even though it would have worked to create ambience, to have ambient type stuff. It was no. This is staged in 1957.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you guys playing track though? Was there track?
There was track, but only doubling up horns.
Oh, okay.
So there were sound effects, but they couldn't come from me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There was times when there was like stuff going on, which was like natural sounds. Like Charles was really intense about. The director decided it has to be time appropriate.
Yeah.
So they're like, it needed to be, everything needed to be around every decision, clothing, as in like. People in the show who had to wear specs, the show went to go and buy them specs that would have been age appropriate.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
to get it like sorted out.
Had to get this prescription, go and get the right frames with their prescription. Like it was that's how intense they were time frames. I got to have no fun with like stuff. It was just piano.
Sure. Yeah, man.
No, sure.
But it's it's talking about musicals. I mean, it's such a. We've mentioned it before. It's such an important experience for any musician.
Yeah, it gets that discipline, like and the sense that you can play something multiple times and give it the same amount of energy and the same amount of freshness because someone else hasn't heard it.
Exactly, and
to do it justice throughout as many times as you are gonna play it.
I mean, you're basically almost 200 now, and I remember going to watch Michael Bublé once. And he announced that he was on his 197th show.
No.
It's the same thing. It's just not a musical, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Orchestra, but that he had a full big band, full big band, piano, bass, guitar, and him. The strings. So obviously, depending on the budget of the venue, they decided whether they had strings or not. So for our show, the one that was here in Cape Town, there was no strings. It was backtrack. But I think he does play live in certain venues when there's enough, when you can sell enough tickets to cover the.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cover everything.
But that was also quite interesting because the stage was a safety hazard because it was slanted. Because he'd do running up and sliding down it and stuff like that. I remember because I knew some of the sound guys, and they were like, it was a nightmare. The people were stressing. Gary West was like, Gary West, they were stressing. I know he's done it 200 times, but they're like, what if it happens here? You know, like. But yeah, but I mean, like that thing, those guys, and you would never be able to tell. So I mean, even in a jazz gig, you know, but that's kind of jazz, pop jazz, you know, commercial jazz. Or if you're touring with, I don't know, Chick Corea, and he's just released an album, you're gonna play maybe not 200 shows, but you're gonna play a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna play a lot.
So even though you think it's like a free thing, there's still a style. The people still want to hear the album. You still have to promote the album. You can't take it so far out. You know what I mean? Like that discipline. Like if you want to hit that level of professionalism, you want to hit.
Because it even gets down to like Ed Sheeran on that, who's like a solo tour. Like he's done like how many shows must he have done? Like, and that's
exactly.
And that's people also want. I think people want consistency throughout that.
Yeah.
And
you know what? You can't be. Can you imagine, especially for him, or like the lead guy? You can't get sick. Yeah. You can't afford to have an off night. Because there's like, say, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people at that show. Yeah. The night that you kind of feeling a bit like off. You had an argument with your girlfriend, whatever it may be, you know.
Yeah.
Now you're a little bit off. And the audience feels that there's 20,000 people maybe that are going to be like, it's Sean. Yeah. I don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much pressure for these guys.
And also, like, Ed, he like, vocally, he actually he tests himself for like 2 hours straight. I remember watching that show. It was crazy. Like actually vocally, like.
Oh, you were here when he was here at Greenpoint.
We went to watch him, and like he really does like I'm sitting thinking, shit.
Like he doesn't hold back. Yeah.
No. There's like he literally says to the audience like, tonight we're both gonna lose our voices, you know, and I believed him, you know, watching as a vocalist. I'm like, I think I might lost my voice. Yeah. Like that was.
But
intense.
I mean, that's amazing, and I think there's two testaments to that for me. Like, first of all, health. Like, if you're not keeping your health in check, like a little bit of exercise. Like I've been so busy with this production that I have to finish now. I did lose track of my health. Luckily, it wasn't for a prolonged period of time. Like I started working out again today. I promise you, I didn't even do my normal workout because I know it's been like 2 weeks since I think I took it chilled. I feel better already. My brain feels more active. The minute I did a little bit of activity and I went to the shops and I just bought a whole lot of veg and stuff like that because I know I need to, you know. But if you're not looking after yourself, you're gonna fail. Like as in not fail like musically. I just mean you're gonna get sick. If you're not keeping active to some level. And I just believe, like one of my beliefs for success, it's not proven yet. Like I was saying, like I'm not necessarily successful, but it has helped me. Is that it's helped me get where I am. Yeah. And it's like I treat myself as if I'm there already. Like where I want to be. Like I don't want to be on massive stages. Like I don't want to be a front man. That's not my goal. But for my goals, I treat my body, I treat myself, I treat my mind in the way that I would have to if I was dealt with that amount of responsibility. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's so important. Like you can't want to be touring and wondering why you're not successful if you're not looking after yourself reasonably. It doesn't mean you need to be like the fittest guy in the world. Doesn't mean. But I mean, at least be conscious about what you put in. Yeah. You know, all these various different things. I feel like those guys are looking after that, and that can then help them perform at that level. You know, like you're the bass. If you're a little bit sick in the show,
that's the thing. Like people go down. Like people do go down.
Exactly, but like they can't really. Like in reality, at that level. So if you made it to Broadway,
well, then in that it's different there because Broadway those are set shows, but they set in one place, so you can just call a dip.
No.
You can call your dip. If you're on a touring show, then for the actors in that, they have swings that can come and swing in and then they fill the parts up. If musicians are sick, then we have to scramble around and try and spread the music around the rest of the parts.
Yeah, no, I know. But what I'm saying is like for musicians in a touring scene. Obviously we can't get sick either, but like I'm saying, it's not the end of the world. Like if I'm feeling a bit tired, if I got a bit of flu, I can probably still get through the show, and people wouldn't notice as much. If you're a lead actor, so there's two things about it. It's such a competitive nature. Like, it shouldn't be, but it is. You don't want to get sick because you don't want your understudy to take that thing, because there has been cases when the understudy does a better job and you
but
lose
also
your gig.
people
You know what I mean?
people don't get paid if you're on the stage. You
Yeah.
only get so many sick days.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like it's so important to look after yourself. That's like, I mean, you know, like it was quite cool at our show that the understudies got gigs and everyone supported each person. It was really
Yeah.
cool. But they like, people were telling me about cases where like the understudy got because someone got sick, and then the lead actually lost their role because writers were writing better reviews about the understudy. So like, you know, like, it's
sure.
competitive, man. You don't want to fall sick, you know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
no, definitely. And then also
Yeah.
like and sometimes, you know, when you put a lot of pressure on one show, like for example, my favorite version of Phantom of the Opera was when they did it at Royal Albert Hall with Sierra Borges and Ramin Karimloo. You might not know them, but they're great Christine and Phantom. And like, imagine if the planning behind that would have been months and months of practice. And if one of them had got sick before that show, imagine the turmoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's I guess why they do make sure to keep care of themselves as well.
Yeah.
Look at that Beyonce. Did any of you watch that Coachella thing, Beyonce, on Netflix? She practiced for 8 months
Oh yes.
for 2 shows.
Yeah.
It was like just two nights.
Yeah.
8
That's
months. 4 months with the band, and then 4 months extra after that with the singers. She was breastfeeding at the time as well.
Heavy. No.
Like, can you imagine
Queen.
Yeah.
Queen Bee?
Yeah,
Well, she's
Queen
calling
Bee.
herself the king now.
Yeah. Nice.
But I mean, that's ridiculous. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Here we go. We're like, I'm lucky to get called in for a gig and have 2 rehearsals. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm like, it's not that I need the rehearsals, but you know, sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm a good enough musician, I don't need the rehearsals. But there's nothing that beats the synergy of connecting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the synergy of just finding each other, which doesn't happen overnight. You know,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Like, yeah.
That's why
it's like because it's getting to know someone as well.
exactly.
Yeah, like for example, I always think that a younger band could outplay an older band if the younger band stayed together for longer.
100%.
Like a younger band that has played together for 2 years would play better than a band that has
The top musicians.
some of the top musicians like with a lot more experience.
But maybe only just meeting up for that time.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I believe in that. Experience obviously counts for a lot. So
Yeah.
an experienced musician would be able to sound like they know each other.
Yeah.
But, and when I mean young, we're not talking about like, I would say like, I'm saying like, if we started a band now, like we all have like enough experience, we've got a reasonable amount of experience, that we wouldn't sound amateur next to an amazing band, as long as we made the music right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I can't compete. I wouldn't be able to play next to, I don't know, Gerald Clayton. Do you know what I mean? Like I would never be able to beat him in his own game, but we could as a band sound as good as his band.
Yeah, you can be
On a
tighter.
synergy level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, tight and like put on a great show and
Yeah,
people will love that.
exactly.
You know, that kind of thing.
But as long as we'd been rehearsing and working together and growing, and like Snarky Puppy are great because none of them are actually like insane musicians. Sorry, I just said that.
No,
they
but
aren't. They're not. None of them are like outstanding solo artists.
well, I'd say like almost. Yeah, but a solo artist in what sense?
Like none of them. Not none of them. But
Because I was
most-
actually also going to talk about them in a touring sense, and how they get over that touring sense, and because I've seen Michael Lee talk on it.
they're replacing each other all the time. Yeah.
Is that that's actually like a band of like 50. I think
Yeah.
it's like 56 people now.
Yeah.
And then but it's only like 14 or something that go touring,
Yeah.
and then they kind of just like pick up other members on like cool, like you do this tour and then we'll fly to the US and do a tour here with you.
Bless you.
Bless me. Yes. And then they kind of like sub people out like and get them to different, and they can do that because all those players are monsters in their own right.
They're good at each other, but like what I'm saying is, if you put them, they call themselves sort of almost jazz musicians, but like.
But they've also been doing it since college, so they have that thing where
With
they were youngsters like and playing till up till now.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that they're bad musicians, but I'm saying that they're not like the top in the world. Like none of the horn players are as good as Joshua Redman.
Okay, but then you look at people like Corey Henry. He's a part of that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah.
But even Corey Henry is still like, he's a hype guy. Like, he's not insane. Like, what he does isn't like out of this world. He's still just a good musician. He's not I don't know. He's not a Chick Corea, as much as I don't even like Chick Corea personal taste. But you know what I mean? Like, they're not these ridiculous musicians. They're not like none of their solo work that they've done on their own have I dug that much. Like, where I've gone, wow, these are great musicians. As opposed to going, I listened to a Roy Hargrove album, he plays really simple music, and I'm like, jeepers. This guy's an amazing musician. Yeah. Not because he's showing off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not doing anything fancy. He just goes, wow, you can just hear the maturity. And what I'm saying is that they're still young, first of all. Like a puppy. And I'm not saying they're bad musicians. They're all better than me. Sure. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying, like, they all kick me my ass. What I'm not saying that I'm not stating that. What I'm just trying to prove is that synergy of the band where they're able to play at a level which makes their gig a lot more interesting than a Brad Maldo gig, who's a more experienced musician. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, he's a musician that, he's a weird one to choose because of how choice his music is becoming. Becoming quite like weird. But I just mean, like, he's a very experienced musician who has a lot of experience, got an interesting sound and massive following. And you know, I don't think that any of maybe Michael League would be able to keep up with Brad Maldo in a gig because of how like hectic he is, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, great, he's flipping the same play, but for what he does. But what they do together and the way that he produces and the way that they write music and the way that thing is like insane. You can't get away from how much you can enjoy them.
Yeah.
And how, but they are, but
yeah, no,
don't ever get me wrong, they're flipping great.
Yeah, no, and also I really think that them being together as a band has helped them all grow individually as well. Definitely. And will eventually, you know what I mean? Which is why, like, seeing a jazz scene with not much of a band tradition is always very sad to me.
In Cape Town, no.
Yeah.
It is. It's really irritating. It's. I mean, you'd think that something like Snarky Puppy would inspire people.
Yeah.
To then go, hey man, we can actually do this if we just put the commitment in. You know, like, because it's so inspiring. Like, it's also so cool for them to grow together.
Yeah.
Like, for them to go, we were once here together, and now we're here together, and now we're all releasing our own music alone, and we're growing. Do you know what I mean? And they're supporting each other, and they've created this unit, this ground-up thing where they together they've been able to put this thing together, and they're just going to keep on growing, and then they will be at that level of, like, no one can touch it. Like, they'll be at that, you know, that legendary artist status, all of them, because they're working so hard. Do you know what I mean? And they're all, they're not that old. They're like in their mid-30s maybe. Yeah. They're like a little bit older than me. Okay, well, like, you know, but I mean,
and I mean, and I think a lot of people forget that that's how most of the greats became the greats, was by playing with amazing bands.
Yeah,
and really building with them. Like, I mean, look at, like, the obvious one is Coltrane. You know, who was with Miles for a while,
and Miles let him just develop.
Yeah,
you know, Miles just let him grow. And
I think you kind of get two kinds of bands. You know, you get a band where other people come and develop, and you develop together, and then you'll have like someone who, like Miles, who is more of a solo artist, and would go, I need to develop this, and I'll develop this around my band, and I'll grow them. I'll grow them as thanks. You know, he'll grow, and he'll make sure they get paid and all that kind of thing. But he grew as himself, and that's part of what made him such an innovator.
I mean, it's testament to a great leader, and Michael League is obviously also a great leader.
Yeah.
And a great player himself. You know, and there's something in that where you can allow people to shine. I mean, a good leader is someone which can identify each person's strengths and let them show their strengths and let them build. That's what a good band leader can do. And like, when I mean strengths, because each day is different, right? Yeah. And we all go through like things in life, and then each gig is different. Like, even if you're playing, I believe this, even if you're doing the same theater show, it's different every night. Like, nothing changes, but atmosphere changes. And the way that it's received, like, I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, some nights one part of the show hits people differently. Like, people are more emotional about this. And then some nights people find this part very seriously. And then some nights the whole audience found that like, funny. Do you know what I like?
And especially in China, because of the language barrier. Because there are subtitles on the sides.
Yeah.
But It was
side titles.
Yeah,
Side
I think they're called surtitles.
Surtitles is on top.
Okay, side
Titles.
Yeah, side titles then.
No, what is it called? What do you call like indent? Like the like. Okay, sorry.
I don't know.
Widgets.
But it's actually interesting because the show gets taken completely differently.
Yeah.
It's like we were excited at first to see like how's it gonna get taken, like are they gonna laugh, like what's gonna happen, but it ended up coming across like really well, and they love it. But it's like interesting to see like in South Africa which parts they laugh to, and in Singapore which parts they laugh to, in China which parts they laugh to, like.
Yeah, because culturally it's different.
Yeah, culturally, like the humor gets taken differently.
Yeah. And also like translating British humor is tricky.
Yeah, like some of the drier, more English-based things are like get completely overpassed.
Yeah.
Like even here where they speak.
Well, even South Africa, like
even here, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's why people don't laugh at me that much. Pretty dry.
That's why no one laughs at me.
You do that.
No. We don't laugh at your jokes. We laugh at you.
Yeah, I know.
You're like a hype man for your own jokes. Yeah.
Dude, big energy. That's my life, man.
No, it's good, man. You just run with it. Run with it into your gigs too.
I have already. You just saw me you were just with me on a more serious gig.
No, I'm just putting a leg there anyways.
Yeah, shame, man.
Yeah, man. So I think it's people should do that, man. In Cape Town, man. We should start like pushing out bands and not solo artists. Solo artists can develop within a band and come out of a band. But it'd be so nice to see more. And I don't mean in any genre. Like specifically, I don't mean in jazz. Just I wish that bands would come out of South Africa. So we got like offhand, I can only think of the Pedestrians, a unit.
No, but in like the rock and like pop scene, like there's so many.
There's actually quite a few.
No, I know, but like other, I guess no, you're right. But I mean,
there's many like
so there's
like Adrian Fowler now is just touring Europe, like great drummer, like.
Yeah, but it's again a drummer. Like I mean, like, I mean at that level of like Snarky Puppy, like where we talking about like, okay, so we got all these really cool bands. I just feel that they're still not taking themselves seriously enough to hit the same level. So we're going, oh, we're South African, and there's like this novelty thing, as opposed to being identified as peers to Americans, for instance, or Europeans. As like, you know what I mean? There's always this thing where Americans and Europeans look down on us. So we can send novelty, we can send Johnny Clegg, you know, we can send that stuff out, and people kind of get tours and like, but we're not sending out people as peers. Do you know what I mean?
But I think there's a lack of a market for it in South Africa as well.
But I also think that we were chowing up so much American music, and it's so obvious when a South African song plays. Do you know what I mean? Like in every way you immediately go South African song, but I dig it because it's South African, cool, I like it. Like the song just popped up on radio, I really dig, but I could immediately identify that it was South African.
But
so
there was
like
this people like what's his name? Sam.
Yeah, opposite the
Sam
other.
Berger,
Sam
opposite
Berger.
the other.
Yeah.
He's killing it now
he is killing it,
international. Like
actually.
he's like topping the charts and that, and like
Yeah.
like super killing it, like.
Yeah, man. Like I guess I'm out of touch, and I mean, from when you're talking about that industry, but I'd say like, for instance, someone like Jimmy Nevis, who's killing the scene. Like when he does his live performances, like he empties himself. You know, I've spoken about that before, but like I don't think he's hardly done any gigs out of South Africa. And like, why is that? So when we're talking about I'm talking about sort of like top 40 commercial music.
Because then also like you get people like Jeremy Loops who also like does everything himself and like brought that, and he like tours and does all that completely. I think I just saw him. He was doing a commercial somewhere, like a shoot. For another music video or something.
Yeah, and look at Goldfish.
Yeah,
they also
I think you can almost also like place yourself if you. It's harder for a lot of people.
You're naming a lot of names, but I'm saying no one is hitting the competing market. We're not competing with Kendrick Lamar. I'm talking about the guys that are earning like bucks. Like
but isn't that almost like the American hype scene?
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like but obviously it's being protected. But there are like so in the American hype scene, there are British acts like that are coming into that and are still being able to compete. So why we are not creating enough hype about ourselves? Because if we create enough hype about our own people properly, it would already start helping that. Do you know what I mean? Like as in cherishing our own.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying is, I'm saying we have enough talent.
Yeah,
we have enough skill. We have enough artists.
The support.
We need more support from. If we can start getting views here, like YouTube views here and Spotify and Apple Music listens here, I can start already pushing these artists that are going up to start, because I feel like we should be starting. I know, like we are, the level of music is getting better and better and better and better, like the standard, but we should be starting to get people to enter into that stream, and we need to get people to be pushing that. We need an industry professional to be helping that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all fair and well, but like these big artists that are making all of this stuff, they're still not making big bucks yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the equivalent of like how successful they are here in South Africa are not making the same amount of money what that same sort of successful artist is doing in the States.
Yeah.
Like,
but isn't that also just a thing, like, difference between like living in Cape Town to Joburg? Like, you get paid more in Joburg than you get paid here. Like, and the same as the US. Like, if you're in the US and you're a musician and you make it.
And you make, and it's obviously always hard. I'm not discrediting that, but I just mean like we should be supporting this. We should be having like our embassies also realizing the importance of music when it comes to like cultural and things, and like and pushing for like not the random art. Like sometimes I feel like I'm seeing artists that are going over, and I'm like, why is that going over when there's this artist? Do you know what I mean? Like who's like a better representative, and like this should be something that should be taken on at a political level. Because look at whenever you go to Cape Town Jazz Festival, there's like, you'll see like the American embassy brought this guy down, and the Norwegian embassy brought this guy down. Do you know, it's sponsored by their own people. Yeah. So the Cape Town Jazz Festival pays a part, and then they pay a part, and it allows for this bigger act to come down. And I'm not saying it's not happening in South Africa, but it should be happening at a better level. Yeah. To spread us, because isn't that a good display? Like, oh, look at this great musician, and he can go now and like make Cape Town look awesome. Yeah. Or South Africa look awesome. Yeah. And like bring more money back.
Like it's a big thing in America actually, where the U.S. embassy has like these. Adam Neely did a video on it where they go to countries and they play American music to promote America.
Really, you see,
they went with Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, yes, they went.
Did you see that post at the Rugby World Cup when there was like each embassy walking towards one of the stadiums had a like a stand. So like all the different embassies, and the South African one was empty. No one was there. So like one of these chiefs police, he was there. Like not a chief of police, I think he was like the chief of media or something for the police, marketing or something. And so him and his son decided to sit down, and he handled it, telling people about South Africa. So it was just empty. No one came during the whole time that he was there. So it's like we are not handling our like opportunities like this properly at a government level, which is like silly.
Yeah, I mean even one, and like people were going to watch the games at bars almost shut down our city. Like that's how popular it was.
You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like it's a shame that our industry could be doing so much better. To inspire artists to be doing this stuff, because that money comes back. So if the South African government put that money in to do it, it comes back, because when that artist gets paid, he gets paid in rands. He gets paid into his account here, and he has to pay tax here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So not like if he's making money, you are making money. Do you know what I mean? Like if I knew that my tax was going to helping my industry and helping my country better, I would be I would be more happy to be paying my tax. Do you know, like small things like that, like where that's my issue. It's my little gripe, where even like the way that Samro is not collecting monies outside of South Africa. Yeah. Like it's destroying our industry, because people are not. That's why
people are like don't want to almost
put as much effort into writing. Because you don't reap the reward as well. Because in the rest of the world, there's money for songwriters. Like if you're a songwriter, you know that you're not as good as a singer or performer, or maybe you're a pianist and you can't sing. Whatever it may be, or you don't want to be in the limelight, but you love songwriting. Yeah. I can make a living of songwriting if I lived in America, and I was good, obviously, and I had connections. But here in South Africa is that you can have that same connections and be good, but not make enough money to sustain you, which is not fair, I feel. And this is what's destroying our industries. Why these people are going out and they're making their money, but they're not having the impact that they could be having if the support was back here to allow that, both from people just supporting our acts, and like I just feel like, why are we not, when you're not listening to music, put your phone on, stream South African music, and have it on no volume. Just pay some people money. Do you know what I mean? Like, for no reason. For
Use
like
that data.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're sitting on Wi-Fi, just put on a South African playlist. Like, we should be doing this.
Yeah,
I
or like
feel.
the podcast playlist. Just
Yeah, all this.
No, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
joking,
why?
man.
Like, I feel like if you have that means and you're not using your phone right now, you could be doing that.
Yeah.
There's a small little ways to start, like, making. Just imagine if every South African person who had like was paying a subscription to a thing, just started like randomly finding South African artists and pressing play, and not care whether you want to listen to it or not.
That.
So you can actually take it to off. You don't have to listen. You're just supporting.
That's actually part of why, like, so K-pop has, like, they have crazy internet fans. Like, so the bands have these massive followings, and they do that. So, like, the guy, you'll see comments like, when they had internet voting for K-pop stuff, first of all, they blew, like, the K-pop band blew everyone else out of the water, because all the internet fans went crazy.
Sorry, what do you do? What is this in terms of?
So like,
was there a competition?
Yes, there's a competition, and it's like, I think it was, so there was a competition where you need to get more views, and literally there were comments of like 100,000 people commented like the same thing, where they just said, oh no, I'll go to work and I'll just leave it on repeat. I'll make a playlist of like 500 versions of the song and I'll just leave it. And they did. It's like, I've uncapped, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And like 50,000 people did that, and it was insane.
Yo.
But that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
Pay Jeremy Loop's bills, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Because obviously, like, the streaming doesn't necessarily get you that much money. But if it gets in that kind of masses, it does. But secondly, when you start streaming and stuff at that level, your vote, you get priority. Like, you go, oh, this Apple Music goes, hey, this guy must be good because so many people listen to him. They start putting it up like on top lists.
Yeah,
that works.
But aren't there other ways also, like, to like just support the artist, like?
Yeah, of course.
In terms of like also like
that's one way.
yeah,
There's like ways of
like
sharing their things and sharing their stuff, liking
Yeah.
their page and sharing their posts for no reason, liking their stuff for no reason. Okay, not for no
Yeah.
reason, but
No,
do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
support. There's nothing wrong with giving support.
Yeah.
Artist to artist, and just sort of civilian to artist, and liking arts outside of our stream. We're musicians, but supporting painters and supporting actors and supporting, like. This industry could be blooming if we just got people to get behind it, even in ways that it didn't cost.
Yeah.
So if and like Leanne, my wife, is always complaining about this. Why are South African artists not supporting each other? So if I have a gig coming up, hey, I'm launching my album. Okay, cool. She says you'll see maybe 4 musicians there, and the rest will just be normal people. She's saying, okay, cool. I understand that maybe you had a gig and you need to make your money. Fine, you don't have to come.
The camera just said.
But anyway, I want to finish that statement. Is that you don't have to come, but why not share the thing?
Yeah.
Share the like. I'm not good at that, but like I hardly check my stuff on Facebook, anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think I should be getting that happen. It's like do what I preach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
There's so many ways to help each other not be broke, and like the Kifness is doing such a good job.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's helping, and it doesn't actually cost him anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. So sorry. The camera died, so I had to go to black. But yeah, that was a good point. I think one thing I've definitely been trying to do more of is, like, whenever I see one of my colleagues do something good, I press share and I press like.
Yeah, man.
Like, even if I don't have time to really read what's going on, it's just like, oh, that's amazing. It's like the OMJ winners of the past 2 years. It's like, yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is amazing. What's this? And then
exactly.
You see a gig, you press share, man. And
definitely, I know. Like I say, I've not been great at it. But I think I need to make a commitment, and I think we need to ask our friends to make commitments to each other, because like I always say this, there's enough work for everyone. The work is just we're not being clever enough in how the work is being created. We're thinking one-mindedly, but we need to support each other if we are doing stuff. Like, I don't have to be threatened and I'm not by
not
another
to be
pianist.
trained by other people. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
like
to push other
there's
people and
enough
help.
work, I promise you. And if you feel like there's enough
help
work, it
support
means
other
you're not
people.
being clever enough
Always.
about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just what it is. We need to support each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I need to go and watch Kinky Boots. Support
Yes,
that.
me too.
Let's go.
Actually.
Let's do it.
This week, wait for this week.
Oh, we can do it this week. Maybe Saturday, the more afternoon show.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's speak to Unity.
Let's watch Kinky Boots. Kinky Boots is an amazing show.
So yeah.
If anyone listening has not gone yet, please buy a ticket and go watch them. They are incredible.
Yeah, look, we'll give you a review about that later.
Yeah, we will. Episode 8.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if Sean's still in the country, we might bring him on again.
When you leaving?
28th.
Monday.
Yeah.
So can you postpone the flight and just do a video with us next week, Monday?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thanks. Just ask them to hold on.
Cool.
Okay.
Lekker. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. This was episode 7 of Backseat Musicians featuring Sean Sanby. Thanks so much for coming, man. We
Sean
really
Sanby on
appreciate you.
bass.
Sean Sanby on bass. Yes. Thanks again for joining me as well, Blake.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and cheers, guys. Have a great week.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Backseat Musician.